you know, how they're going to do something. When I worked, we did have a fax machine that nobody checked. You know, it would run out of paper, you know, the ink was gone, you know, and I was like, why are we even getting faxes, you know? And then like the faxes come in and it makes no sense because you don't know who the officer it's for, you know, or it's just the evidence and there's like nothing explaining like who's the applicant. And so then we would throw it out. Like, we don't know. There's nothing to tie it to, you know? And the
attorney line, even though it's special consideration, is like when I have clients who, like, I have one client who had issues and he wrote this like 3-page email to the embassy. I'm like, why did you do that? Why don't you come to me first? They probably get this all the time, so they want to shut it off. But lawyers typically will be succinct. They don't have time to go and dive into that. So they take a special lawyer line. So like NBC used to have that, and they took away the National Visa Center just so we get down to business faster when you know we're not going to be rambling on it in like 3-page emails.
Exactly. Like, you know, my wife had just had surgery and this is what they found. And, you know, they went in on this date at this time. And it's like, no, she had surgery. That's what we need to know. You know,
no case number, no name, no application number. It's like
nothing. Right. Exactly. Like when I worked there, I saw a waiver. No, I'm sorry. I-290B. So motion to reopen. Right. And it was pro per. So the lady had done it on her own. She filed it after the deadline. Okay. So it was an easy denial. First of all. But secondly, I was curious because it was a total of like 6 pages. So the form was like 3 pages. Okay. And then the rest of it was, you can't deny my case because I'm a good human being. You know, like, you need to reopen my case. I'm paying for this. So you need to reopen my case because I'm a good human being. Whatever it is that you guys thought was wrong, you're wrong. You know, so I think you should grant my case. Because my spouse pays all the taxes and, you know, we're really good people. And okay, as a new officer, I didn't know much about like what constituted a good I-290B. They just told me to go and like, you know, call it for easy denials or whatever, or easy, you know, and then like the approvals would actually go to an officer who knew like if it was approvable or not. But it was so sad and yet funny at the same time because I was like, you know, I get it. You're begging for another chance. I get it, you know, and I'm sympathetic, but there's no grounds here at all. You know, I don't like your decision is not a legal reason to reopen your case.
Dealing with this, a guy got his consular case denied. They're like, how could they say that? I want to file a lawsuit. Like, they have discretion, consular non-reviewability. Like, if they didn't believe the facts, they didn't believe it. And then just constantly explain why. I don't understand. I'm like, this is just what they do. Or they do switches, like when they put a case in administrative processing, they call it a denial now. And then it freaks out people. I'm like, no, it's not a denial. And they're like, why do they call it a denial? I'm like, well, there's a lawsuit happening, and then I have to go through the history, which is like, I'm like, and they still don't get it. So I'm like, just listen to me. Like,
I might know what I'm doing, right? And or like when they change the you know how like we don't send in like the medical now, you know, with our applications, right? And because they are taking too long to schedule the appointments, and those things are only good now for what, 2 years, I think. It used to be like 1.5 years or a year. So now they used to call it a courtesy notice that the I-693 is not there. Now they call it a deficiency notice. So then my clients call me freaking out. You forgot to put this in there.
I've had that, yeah.
You know,
you can get a notice, but they'll forget because that was like 6 months ago, 9 months ago. And I'm like, no, we intentionally did this so you don't have to do your medical twice and waste money. Yeah.
Exactly. And they're like, oh, you know, and so then they're like, so I don't have, well, what if I get it done now and then we submit it? No, that's not how this works, you know? And I feel bad because it makes me look like an idiot, you know, and because the client, for the time that it takes them to talk to me, thinks I'm an idiot. And I think that the service is just, you know, looking for ways to make us look stupid.
Yeah. I had it where for the medical, they on the USCIS.gov, they designate as an RFE. So I'm like, I got an RFE, what the hell? So we're waiting, like 1 month goes by, and then we get a medical deficiency. I'm like, this is not an RFE. It's just a reminder. But you can like freak out. Like, why would this case get an RFE? This is like a clean case. So
right, exactly. Or I was going to say something else too, but it escapes me. But yeah, no, it's
trading together. But on the positive, these new bills could really change things. I think they're asking a lot, especially with the lack of, you know, Democratic numbers in the Senate. But we'll see. Hopefully, get some DACA stuff in and some policy. It's just internal 8 CFR changes that we need to have. Exactly. Changes.
Yeah, and honestly, if you guys would just roll back, if we went back to 2015, 2016, right? Yeah, it wasn't great, but oh my God, I will take that because at least I know if I do A, B is going to happen.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a matter of, if I do A, then, something like not even the alphabet might happen, and I don't even know why, right? I remembered what I was going to say, and this is kind of a word of advice is when you get the medical from the doctor, make sure you get an open copy.
Yeah.
Okay. Make sure you get an open copy. I've had situations where I had to RFE somebody, a couple people, because the medical was deficient. And I was like, look, I would love to grant it today, but I can't because literally this box is not checked. And I know I cannot check it for you, so definitely get an open. And I tell clients, I'm like, look, if the doctor won't give you an open copy, then go to a different doctor.
Yeah. I always ask ahead of time if they're going to do that. And a full, because I've had it where they'll give copies of like 3 of the pages. I'm like, no, we need a full. I have to call a doctor. I was threatening to sue them a couple of times for HIPAA violations too, because they're like, no, we're not supposed to give it. But I'm like, no, USCIS regulations require it. The instructions for 5693 require it. And California state law requires, every state law and almost every major Western country requires, you always have to give a result medical checkup no matter what, in Canada and US and England, all this kind of stuff. And they have to fight with them. I hate that. So I tell clients ahead of time, make sure they're accustomed to this so we have to deal with this and have to argue with them because it takes so much of my time. And I've had colleagues in Florida say, if you go in with an RFE-wise medical at the interview, they'll deny, not even send an RFE. I mean, medical has missing boxes. There's a field office there in Miami or something where officer will deny the case, won't even give you a chance to redo it, which is crazy because it's not you doing it. It's like,
and it's a sealed document. Like, it's not like you can take a look at it, right? And I had the same situation where the doctor only gave them 3 pages. Same thing, right? Like the basically the biographic page, and the conclusion, right? And then I was like, no, you need to get a new one. The doctor wanted to charge them.
Wow.
Just to repack it.
I-693 is a racket. I think doctors just milk it. Some people charge like $1,000 or more for it. It's like, really?
I heard.
It is. It's such a. They gotta make a fixed price for it or something like that, unless they need extra services. But it's such a weird situation, the medical checkup, the way they do it.
Right, and some offices are really inconsistent on the way they do it, and like some I used to. When I left the service, I don't have the names anymore. I don't even know if they're practicing, but like I actually notated to myself like 3 doctors in K-Town area, because that's kind of where I live, that actually knew what they were doing. Like Mr. Bloom or Dr. Bloom was like one of them, and I doubt he's practicing because he was old then. But no, I mean, like I actually notated to myself like the medicals that were like professional and that were complete every single time. And I was like, so then when I first started, I was like, I would slide the list to my clients and be like, just one of these people, just please one of these, because then at least I know it'll be complete, and so
I always debate whether to have a list I give them, because if they go and mess up or there's some accusation I have some relationship with, because I get these doctors send me gifts in the mail, like send your clients here. I'm like, I don't want there to be some sort of a thing like I'm getting something out of it from sending these doctors for money or something.
Right. But and facts or whatever. I mean, it's funny because I had this one doctor who kind of did the same thing. Cold call, reached out, and he seemed like a nice guy, right? Until I found out that he had some very anti-immigrant views. And I'm like, then why are you doing this?
Yeah.
And it's just, I'm like, I don't understand, because I went and talked to him, and his wife is actually an immigration attorney. And yet he had some very basically, the wall's a good idea. And, it's, everybody should come here legally. And it's just, these people who are here and they just want to take advantage of the system. And I'm like, then why are you doing this? Have you talked to your wife? The stuff that she sees, I mean, it was so weird. And so I stopped referring to him. I mean, he does a good job with the reports. But honestly, I didn't want to risk my client feeling hostility from the doctor.
Yeah.